Welcome back to La Platica. This is Dr. José Leyba from Arizona Barrio Stories, bringing you what you want to find out about our barrios and our culture, our language, and our people, and how we've contributed to the development of this country and continue to do so today. Today we have a great guest, Dr. Dani Portillo. She's a brand new superintendent in the Roosevelt School District, the first Latina superintendent here. And one of the important things about Dr. Portillo is that she actually is a graduate of the Superintendent's Leadership Academy with the ALAS organization, Association of Latino Administrators and Superintendents, housed in Washington, D.C. So welcome, Dr. Portillo. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your story, and then we'll go into our other questions.
Sure, thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here in ALAC. I love this museum and what it means to the city. Not only Latinos, but people in general. As I was walking up, I saw a lot of tourists outside taking pictures alongside the art that's displayed by the window.
Right.
And it's just a point of pride, so I'm glad to be here and proud to be here.
Well, thank you for mentioning that. So obviously your family trained you really well, because that's great. So talk to me about how your family has impacted your career and your life.
Yeah, well, my life, my family is from Honduras. On my mom's side, we are from the Campos Bananeros. In fact, the town that she grew up in and that I go and visit when I go see my family is La Lima, which is a campo originally created by the banana and fruit companies from the U.S.
All right.
So La Lima. And then on my dad's side, they cultivated coffee up in the mountains. So very humble beginnings, extremely humble beginnings, something we're very, very proud of. My parents are amazing people who took risks that I know when I speak to parents in our district, I commend them on risks that they take that I would never have the courage to take.
Right.
As much responsibility as I've taken on. I couldn't imagine moving to another country away from my family, where I'm comfortable, where I know the language, and moving so far away. So they moved here in the 1980s, and we moved over to Buckeye and 13th Street.
Sure,
So,
the heart of the barrio here in downtown Phoenix.
Yeah, Las Milpas, right? So I grew up over there in the 1980s. It's tough times, right? So I used to watch the boxing matches with my dad, and used to hang out around the Friendly House and the Wesley Community Center over by the Chicanos por la Causa offices, and I know they built that famous Pete's Fish and Chips that's still there. So that was where my upbringing came. Then we moved over to the Maryville area in West Phoenix. Yep, attended schools out there as well. And then I had the opportunity to go to North High School. So I'm a Mustang, back where my old friends were from when we first immigrated here, and graduated from the IB program. Yeah, went on to ASU, and yeah, it's a history from there.
Well, it's been a great journey, obviously, and being from Honduras, so many of our brothers and sisters, hermanos y hermanas, they're from many of those other countries, but they come to our barrios and they become part of our barrios. So we have made you an honorary Chicana, okay? So tell me a little bit about what was your motivation to get an education? You talked about coming from your parents, their struggle, and how did you decide that you wanted to get into education?
Well, from the very beginning, my parents really encouraged us to make a difference with whatever talent we had. And for myself, school was a talent. Once I learned English, right? Not knowing English, it was hard. But once I learned English, school and academics was my talent and an area that I felt very successful in. So that's how I could give. That's my talent, my leadership and my academics. But they always encouraged us to make a difference in whatever field we chose for ourselves or career we chose for ourselves. So for me, that was a big motivator, is to go to school to make a difference. Not really understanding what I was going to do with my life when I was 18, but then had opportunities to volunteer and work with school-age kids, junior high kids. And that started to plant the seed in me about potentially becoming an educator. I had the opportunity to be part of a Latina sorority, and we did a lot of functions and events and philanthropy and community service at the schools as well. And several of those women were also studying to be teachers. So that's kind of how I got in the mix. And once I got in, I absolutely loved it. And I would say that I'm in the mix of education, but my whole family is. They are so supportive of everything that I do, and you know, as a leader and as a female leader, it has to be everybody. It's all in. So my dad, my brothers, my husband, everybody is there for me because we want to make a difference for the kids in our communities and our staff. Right.
So what a great story. Here you have a Latina, first generation, right? Interested in education. Now you're serving one of the poorest school districts in Arizona, and one of the school districts that has suffered academically, but what a great story. The kids in that school district look like you, they talk like you, and to have a Latina, the first Latina leading that district must be just awesome. So talk about the challenges that you face as a superintendent.
I think one of the biggest challenges that we struggle with is really telling our story. So we have a lot of people telling our story for us, and sometimes they tell our story as one from a deficit perspective. But we have a lot of richness in our community. Yes, financially, economically, our community has been disenfranchised in many ways. However, we have had great leaders come up from South Phoenix, Latinos, Black, Hispanic, Japanese. We've had such great leaders coming from that area, and then also we have an excellent and very flourishing business sector. We have beautiful mountains and just great partnership with the city parks and rec. There's a lot of great things going on with the faith community, and we want to tell our own story so that people focus on what's beautiful about South Phoenix as well. You know, the Audubon Society, you know, so they've chosen to invest in South Phoenix, and they have a beautiful bird sanctuary over in South Phoenix. Not very many people go to it. So there's a lot of great things that outside people know about our community. We want to tell that story so our students and our families and our staff know those stories too.
That's an awesome point about looking at our communities in a deficit model. And when we have a Latina Chicana superintendent that's telling her story and the story of the community, the story of the kids, and putting a positive spin on that, I salute all the Chicana superintendents and the Latino male superintendents and Latinos that are doing the same type of work, engaging the community.
Well, Latino serving leaders, right?
Exactly. So if you were to say something to a young Latina or Chicana that wants to get up, Mexicana that wants to do something with their life, what would you tell them?
I would tell them to not set limits on themselves. Oftentimes we constrain ourselves with our own maybe biases of what people like us are able to accomplish, and to really look at others. That I've been fortunate enough to be able to look at others that have paved the road for me, and that has made it so much easier. They say, you know, if you can't see it, you can't be it. So to surround yourself with people that, even if they're not in your area of how you would like to change the world, that they're changing the world. They're doing something, and really aiding them, helping them, being of service to them, but also learning from everything that they do. I would also tell them to not limit their experiences. You know, travel, get to know people from other cultures. Oftentimes there's other cultures that have similar obstacles and challenges and struggles from what we've had. Of course, their own story, right? But also we have a lot of things in common. So I would say vary your experiences, vary your learning experiences, and try to be of service to those that you want to one day be like.
Dr. Portillo, as you well know, I served as the program director for the ALAS Superintendent's Leadership Academy for 5 years. And one of the things that we really focused in on in the academy was academics. Talk to us a little about the academic success you're experiencing in Roosevelt, because you were the assistant superintendent and now you're the superintendent.
So we are on a roll up. We definitely haven't reached where we want to be ultimately, but we're building on our successes and our strengths. We're focusing a lot on being focused, on everyone being on board, having a voice, but then choosing a path. And that's the path that our district is putting all of our resources towards time, money, energy, people's goodwill. And one of those areas has been the area of reading. So we've really been focusing on educating ourselves as a whole, from the classroom, the paraprofessionals, the parents, all the way to our school board, and really educating ourselves of how reading works, and how we can make reading, writing, literacy a success for our students. And same thing when it comes to computation and math.
Now, traditionally, Roosevelt, like many urban Chicano, Mexicano, Latino-led school districts, or Latino-based, where the majority of students are Latino, suffer from academic. But now you've moved a number of your schools up, correct? Yes,
we have. So we don't have any schools in mandatory improvement, like at some point we did.
Right.
And all of our schools are B's or C's labeled. We don't have any failing schools, and some of our schools are within 2 points, 3 points of becoming A schools. One of the other things I didn't mention that we really have focused on is really being grounded and rooted in the community, and engaging kids in learning in ways that are authentic to them, that are engaging to them, and that are reflective of them and the changes that they want to make in their community. So when they grow up, our hope would be that they would be academically able to pursue whatever they want, but also that they're proud of where they are from, and that they want to stay and lead in South Phoenix.
Excellent. Thank you so much. So now you heard from Dr. Dani Portillo, new superintendent in the Roosevelt School District. Thank you very much. Adios.
Okay.